Hi everyone. So this week we are going to be talking about teen dating violence. Sometimes I shorten it to TDV. And this is just the first PowerPoint of 3 that I have listed online. So I'm going to just go over this first one today, but you need to make sure you take a look at the other 2 as well. So the first 2 or 3 slides talks a lot about the prevalence of teen dating violence. And so there is a, unfortunately, high percentage of teens who experience teen dating violence. 1 in 5 high school girls is physically or sexually hurt by a dating partner. And then 1 in 3 teens experience some kind of abuse in their romantic relationships. One of the things that we're going to be talking quite a bit about teen dating violence is bystander intervention, and there's a lot of research that is coming out about this. And so this has to do with friends or peers who know about the abuse and know what's going on. So 1 in 3 teens reported knowing a friend or peer who has been hit, punched, kicked, slapped by a partner. So 1 in 3 know about something happening, but only 1 in 5 report. So that tells you quite a bit about the discrepancies between knowing about something and then actually the information being reported. So this 1 in 5 number is, I'm guessing, very significantly under reported. Teen males as well as females experience dating violence. Black and Latino students were more likely than white students to report being physically hurt, and LGBTQ youth experience higher rates of every type of dating abuse. 62% of teens wish they were able to talk more openly about relationships with their parents. I actually did some research with some colleagues when I was in my PhD program about teen dating violence and parents and the reaction of parents to different teen dating violence scenarios. And so parents can have the biggest influence on teen decisions about relationships and sex, but less than 1/3 of parents actually talk to their teens about teen dating violence. And 2/3 of parents do not think their children are at risk of teen dating violence. So having even just one trusted adult in a teen's life plays a huge role in ending teen dating violence. So going back to a little bit of bystander intervention, when teens talk to someone about the violence, it's usually a friend. And so teens often also turn to their peers and their other students in their classes to learn about romantic relationships and decide what is normal or acceptable from their peers. So there's several risk factors that come with teen dating violence. They are more likely to engage in substance abuse. They are likelier to engage in risky sexual behavior before age 15. They likely have multiple sex partners. Girls with a history of physical and sexual dating violence are also more likely to become pregnant, 4 to 6 times more likely than non-abused peers. And they are more likely to have attempted suicide during the previous year. So those are, again, things that are some trickle-down effects of teen dating violence. Very similar to adult dating violence, there's a lot of warning signs that come with teen dating violence. We see a lot of jealousy that goes on, particularly in teen dating violence. We see a lot more possessiveness, making false accusations about another person, isolating the person from friends and family. Again, a lot of these are similar to what we see with adult violence. Teen dating violence is defined as a pattern of physically, sexually, verbally, and/or emotionally abusive behavior in a dating relationship. The family code defines dating violence as the following. There has been some recent legislation in Texas to require each school district in Texas to adopt and implement a dating violence policy in schools. So each school district has to have a definition of dating violence. They have to address safety planning, include enforcement of protective orders, include school-based alternatives to protective orders, address training for teachers and administrators, address counseling for affected students, and include awareness education for students and parents. So House Bill 121 also talks about 4 different types of abuse: physical, emotional, digital, and sexual. So the digital one is the one that's particularly a little different with teen dating violence. Again, very similar physical abuse tactics to adults, similar with emotional abuse. So with digital abuse, I think we're also seeing this a little bit more and more in adults as phones and the internet and things like that become more and more prevalent with adults as well. There's constant monitoring of communication, demanding sexual photos, excessive texts. We're talking about hundreds of texts a day. Hacking, posting private messages, demanding check-ins, tracking their location with their phone, posting cruel things about their partners. So again, a lot of these things are occurring, are called digital abuse. And then we have sexual abuse as well. Again, very similar to adults. DV. So victims of dating violence are more likely to do poorly in school, experience depression, drink alcohol, attempt suicide, have unwanted pregnancies. Again, very similar. The abuse tends to escalate more and more over time. Individuals who are in teenage abusive relationships are more likely to be victims or abusers in college and as adults. And early intervention is the best strategy. So when we talk about roles, we obviously talk about the abuser. This PowerPoint talks about the target, so the individual, the survivor or victim or target, whatever you want to call them. And then there's also the individual who's the bystander. So we talk more about bystanders in teen dating violence relationships because there are more people who have access to teens, including peers, teachers, counselors, things like that. Whereas adult relationships, they can really be isolated. Obviously, there are some instances of bystanders calling the police if they witness, physical abuse. But in teen dating violence, there are more individuals who play a role in an individual's life that can be become aware of the abuse. So helping a friend or family member, tell the person that is being abused that you are concerned for their safety. Acknowledge that the abuse is not this person's fault. Be supportive, patient, and avoid judging your friend or family member. That's probably one of the hardest things to do, is be patient with that person. They may not be ready to acknowledge or accept or leave what's happening. And so being patient and recognizing that they may not take your advice right away, but they still need that friendship and that listening ear and that non-judgment from you. Encourage the person to talk to others who can provide help and guidance, particularly teens. We want to encourage teens and their peers to have the victim or the survivor reach out to an adult, a trusted adult. Help the person to develop a practical and specific safety plan that focuses on preventing future harm, and do not confront the abuser. It could be dangerous not only for you, but also for your friends. So red flags, again, very similar to adult relationships. Changes in social behavior, so becoming more withdrawn, no longer getting along with friends, dressing differently, new risky behaviors, drug use, alcohol, partying, sex, academic changes, so there might be more truancy, they might have grade changes, things like that. Physical signs, obviously any physical marks on the victims, holes in the wall, covering up when seasonally inappropriate. So oftentimes we might see individuals wearing long sleeves in the summertime, or wearing a hoodie, outside when it's, 100 degrees outside. So those are some other things to kind of look for. Excessive texting, calling, contact, tense, dramatic conversations. Victim appears afraid of abuser and or is quiet in the abuser's presence. So this is red flags for an abusive behavior, so disrespectful conversations with peers about the victim, so degrading the victim, talking about them in a derogatory way, demonstrating anger and or possessive behavior, yelling, aggression, constant texting, a history of trauma, if there's a history of substance abuse, of violence, family violence in their home as well. So those are all things to keep in mind for abusive behaviors as well. So this concludes the first PowerPoint. I also, again, have 2 more for a total of 3 about teen dating violence. So please make sure that you take a look at the other 2 before you do this week's posting, because they will be very helpful for you. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great week. As always, please feel free to contact me if you have any questions at all. Thank you so much.